Okay, we're live.
Hey.
Episode 7, everybody.
Welcome. Yes.
That's probably the most energy we've had for any intro ever, right?
Yeah, it's all down.
It's all downhill from there. And that wasn't even that huge amount of energy, really.
No.
It wasn't like, go Falcons! Yeah. Have anybody from Atlanta watching tonight?
No?
Oh, yeah, we can't hear them.
Okay.
How are you guys?
Excellent.
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing well?
Feeling good.
We
Feel like it's a good one.
Turning out to be an excellent summer this year.
It is. Yeah, today was a
Good things
beautiful day. It
happening.
wasn't so hot this time around.
I know, it broke, and yeah, like everyone walks around when it's like crazy hot, and then everyone just looks defeated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, and like everyone looks the same, and you're in the
Yeah.
same boat. And then
You're like,
when
yeah,
there's
dude,
like a
I know.
break in that, you just feel, oh god, it's like, okay, I'll live today.
Everyone's walking around.
You know it's bad
beautiful.
when you plug in a fan inside your shower. That's a really good method, actually, by the way, because when your body gets wet and then you get a little breeze,
Yeah.
That's great.
it's really nice.
So that's your method?
That's one of my methods. I have
you've been
a fan over the bed, over the shower with a little arm that can stretch out to go over the toilet. That's a little gross, but sweating on the toilet is nobody's friend.
Well, I mean, we're all
And-
using it, so I mean.
Yeah, it's every day.
We don't
You-
have to talk about
a lot of
it,
people are
but I
watching the
guess we
show
do,
that aren't
so.
in New York. They don't realize like how sweaty and how like
It's
the planet
miserable.
Venus it is here.
Yeah, it's miserable.
Yeah, and we generally don't have AC in the bathroom. That's one of the things I've very strongly noted about everywhere I go. I'm like, oh, it's nice in here. But then you hit the bathroom, it's like, oh, God, what happened?
Yeah, right? I wish somebody would invent a little tiny AC and we could put like 100 of them. And you could just hang one right by your ear and you're like, wow, so cool on this side of my face.
I've seen these people walking around with these, like,
Just
devices.
drop a few down your blouse,
Yeah.
you know.
Around their collar, like personal air conditioners. Have you guys seen that?
No. It's-
Oh, I've seen it like crazy.
Is it
See
like a
people on
fan
the
that just
subway
blows in your
wearing,
face?
Like, I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not anything but a personal like comfort
Weird.
device because it just sits around their neck and they're.
My mom
not
actually
sweating while
makes these
everyone
little
else
things
is.
that it's like silica in a sock kind of thing. Hey, Mom. She
Cool,
makes these
Mom.
little, it's like silica in a sock and you get it wet and it expands.
What does that mean?
It's hard to explain. It's
Yeah.
Isn't that stuff that they like those little glass-ish beads?
Yeah,
that
and they
come in,
absorb
like,
water, though.
And they're like, don't eat this.
Yeah. I
Whatever.
believe
like
it's
silica
that.
packets, like the
Yeah.
gel things
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get in like a shoebox.
But she'll
it's
like
silica.
load a
Yeah,
bunch of
it's like a sugar substitute.
I think that's what she uses. It doesn't taste as good though, and
Yeah.
it's supposedly not as good for you. So
Oh.
stay away from that.
Okay.
Even though you can get it free with electronics, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But she'll make these fill the fabric with it, and then when you get it wet, it expands.
Yeah.
And you have like this squishy pouch thing, and then if you cool it down or it just kind of stays cool, you keep it on your neck and it absorbs water and
You like put it in the
keeps you
freezer
cool.
and stuff.
Yeah, you can
Cool
do
it down
that,
and stuff
or
like that.
throw it in the fridge and.
But it's really just that it's water and it's like adding condensation. Or,
Yeah, exactly. It's like having a cool rag on you all the time, but
Like
it
a cold
absorbs water
compress.
and keeps it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would like to say my mom invented that, but it was one of those things she found on the internet.
I like to harness the power
Oh,
of
yeah.
my own
Hi, Mom.
sweat all over myself, and that keeps me cool.
Well, that's exactly my method in the shower. Yeah. The more you...
Water all over me. Oh,
I sweat like crazy in the shower. Have you noticed?
I don't know. I've been watching
Sometimes
in the
it doesn't
shower
take.
a lot.
Right? Did you notice?
Yeah.
A lot.
Did anybody notice that I sweat when I'm in the shower? God, I hope not.
I was going to
I,
bring
in
it up,
fact,
but there was...
Did not.
Every once in a while, Nick plants a little seed in my brain that he somehow hit a camera in the studio. And he's like, we're watching you, Mike. Oh, I'm just kidding. But he'll say it like every 2 months or so. And I'm like, is Nick watching us? So
Nick works for the NSA.
Well, you got to think. What are we doing here that anybody would be interested in? In a covert
good
kind of way?
conversation, good arts, good music, improvised performance, usually led by Fumio, Tashiro, Nick Chen,
Yes.
and a fourth finger, and a thumb. What would we be without our thumbs?
Yeah, I know. We would certainly not be as opposable.
Look how posable I am. Thumbs up.
Oh man.
Yeah, Chips never can tell me something's really cool. I have no idea.
Yeah, right. You just look at a chimpanzee, and he's
You
probably
like
sitting
some
there like
peace.
this.
Yeah.
Some,
Yeah,
like,
well.
hardcore, but
Everything's cool. Everything's cool, but I got no way to show it.
Yeah, but they are lethal, right? That's how chimps attack people, right? They just claw and grab. Are we hearing feedback? Oh no,
No,
you know
I
that
think
sound.
that's
We thought
outside.
there was feedback, ladies and gentlemen. But there's some saws outside because there's a whole group of skaters outdoors building a skate ramp,
oh right.
and they're gonna have a big event tomorrow at what's that? Maria Hernandez Park.
Oh, this thing that Roy's doing.
Yeah, Roy's taking part in that. Yeah, and Jason, the guy
Yeah.
downstairs at Silky's. So if anybody's watching this local in Bushwick, tomorrow Sunday, Maria Hernandez Park, they're having this really cool skate off. It should be fun.
Yeah.
But that's the noise. It's not feedback, so we're okay. Should we introduce ourselves and introduce the show?
Sure.
I don't think so.
No?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
I think we do.
You want to do this time, Greg?
Yeah. So here we are at, inside the Sulphurbath. So if it's your first time listening to us or watching us or both, we are a
Speaking
group
of cameras
of people.
in the bath.
Yeah. We are a group of folks who kind of bring our individual experiences from the past week together and discuss them a little bit. But a lot of the time it is kind of just what's coming off the top of our heads right now. And we will be having some guests. And that, I think, that's the most important part of our show. I mean,
Yes.
honestly, we're always, maybe always, certainly sometimes always going to be here. But we will bring other guests onto the show to bring their thoughts and really light up what we do. So we have some ideas, but really who we bring on the show is really making what we're doing happen.
Yeah.
So,
but really, the secret to the show is basically that it's exactly what was happening here every week anyway. We just added microphones and lights and a camera, right?
That's a pretty good description.
yeah.
Because every week we'd be sitting here like, oh man, somebody should have recorded this conversation.
Yeah.
And most of those probably were just crap or whatever, right?
Yeah, no,
But some of them, it was really amazing insight into being a human being, And the musicians and all of us jamming here all the time and everything. So it was like, hey, let's get together and make some content, start a weekly show.
Let's share. Let's share what we're doing with our 20 or 25 viewers a week.
Yeah, exactly. That might be it was up to 30 at one point.
Someday it'll be 30, maybe 35. But,
One can hope, can't one?
Yes.
So, but I feel like for the several thousand people that will join us a little bit later in the future,
Like in a
they're going to
few
be tuning
minutes.
into something really cool, what we do here with art and music and improvised jams and discussion and everything.
right?
Yeah.
And also we show a short film at the beginning of each episode, right?
Yeah.
This week's one was titled... does somebody want to title that real quick? Do you want to?
Heads or tails?
Yeah.
It was called Heads or Tails.
Yeah, let's flip for it.
Titled by Nick Chen.
Yeah.
But we collaborated. That was me collaborating actually with Blaine Kneece.
I was there.
He
I was there at the time.
doing some illumination, and Brandon White was actually there in the background doing the synth stuff, which is really cool.
Episode 1, if you guys need to check more on Brandon White.
Yeah, episode 1 has Brandon White performing live. That was really good.
And he's got
performance.
some,
Check the
he's got some really interesting insights on dreams. So I highly
He does,
recommend
yes.
backtrack to episode 1, check out Brandon White.
Check out Ep 1
Yeah.
for sure. And
also, that's a really good look into what you were just describing. We had all this stuff where we just play around and
Mm-hmm.
maybe record something once in a while, and this is yet another one of the things you got to share of what happened before.
yeah,
inside
and that
the
was totally a
Sulphurbath.
collaboration, just sitting around like, oh, we got this cool camera that can do high frame rates. Let's spin a coin on a desk.
Let's
And,
hold the light and play some synthesizers.
That was Travis Melvin, by the way. Shout out to Travis for being the prop man and also the articulation of the set design on that piece. But then we mixed it with some shots in New York City, and those were slowed down. And we went up on the roof yesterday, right? Like, oh, we need to film something to cut in together to make this a little more intriguing,
Yeah.
get a juxtaposition.
Interesting example of things always happening. You had those guys up there with the kites. You saw the two birds
Yeah.
kind of in the air.
And at first they
those-
seem like real birds, but you're like, wait, what's going on? There's something wrong about them. And they're
Little
two
bit too-
kites, but we couldn't see the string.
Right.
And we were out there like, oh, let's look for some birds. And just off of our building, a few blocks away, there's that huge coop, right?
Right.
There's just thousands of pigeons flying through the sky, and they do those big, all the group think of pigeons flying through the air, and they're all in sync with each other with all their separate
Yeah.
brains, but somehow perfectly synced.
And if you're not familiar with Brooklyn, I mean, there are pigeon coops all over the place, and it is surprisingly amazing to watch the pigeons circle in their formation as they go. Something we couldn't describe. Hopefully we'll get it on tape. We could share it here.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like the analog versus digital, and people that can't tune into that effect. It's like you can make a fractal show that to your brain,
Yeah.
but it won't achieve what nature does when you see that. I mean, it's pretty amazing, actually. And I like that in the video, too, that we had the cloud movement in there and stuff. But juxtaposed against these two kites that are fake birds, it's like not life, but begging for life. And then, of course, that moment that you come in and right after that juxtaposed, like, who are these guys in a room with this weird sound? And then you turn on the light and it's the sound
Not
of
life,
Brandon
but,
saying...
but it wants to be life.
Well, I think that's the moment where it's the spark of life, actually. And I think, Blaine, you pulled that off perfectly. You had this look on your face, like I've always said, you're like a man of 1,000 faces. Every time I see you, you look different, and that video proves it, man. It's
Yeah.
like,
At least not.
Tonight I chose this one.
yeah, everybody look. What is that, like 962?
Yeah.
Have you seen Return of Oz?
Ones.
And
Oh,
there's
yeah.
that Mombi, is that her name? She's got the like hallway of her fake heads. I remember that really scaring me when I was a child. That was really,
Yeah, that was one of those. It was like The Wiz.
yeah.
It was one of those movies that's just like really dark. Like you're like, oh, okay, I like The Wizard of Oz. Let's watch this, and you rent
Yeah.
it, and you come home, and Dad's like, oh my God, what did I rent?
Wizard of Oz is pretty disturbing too.
Well, yeah, but it's like it's
Yeah.
it's light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to Return to Oz, with the Wheelers, like,
Oh, my God.
and the whole thing that was Dorothy was getting electroshock therapy, right? She was getting tortured.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
And, yeah, no. If you go back and watch that, it's like the Doctor is the Gnome King, same actor, and he's the one in Oz that's like taking things over. He's like the evil character, and the whole thing is he wheels Dorothy in, and she's still talking about Oz. We better give her some electro juice, trying to shock Oz out of her. And anyway, we promised ourselves 2 minutes max on the Return to Oz, so we got to get past that right now. So anyway, you guys had a good week and everything's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's great.
Yeah, everything's as cool as it's gonna be.
yeah.
That's pretty true. Yeah, that's. Were you reading Lao Tzu earlier or what?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Feeling very honest right now.
Yeah, well, that's how it should be. We want to share our honesty.
But so what is on tap?
Yeah, tonight's show is really
For the
cool. I'm really
evening.
excited about tonight.
Guinness.
Yes.
We have 2 guests with us tonight. The first will be Cha Yi Thane, and Cha is an artist from Burma, and she's going to grace us with her story, and we're going to share some of her artwork with us. And I feel like I really couldn't do a proper introduction for Cha Yi. I would just like to bring her out and talk to her. After that, we're going to have Toothy Grins come on. They're a really great local Bushwick, Brooklyn rock band, and they're totally going to blow your minds. We're going to talk to John Reid, actually, of Toothy Grins, and he's going to show us some footage and
I mean,
stuff.
Toothy Grin for today.
Is that? Can we say that? Toothy Grin? The
Singular today.
The singular Toothy Grin. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, great. So that's coming up. And then after we talk to John and show some of Toothy Grin's work, we're going to close with our experimental improv that we do every show, right?
We'll have our goodbye at the end.
And that's going to be led by Fumio, Tashiro, and Nick Chen, who are hanging out here with us. And cool.
And hopefully incorporate everybody in this room right now.
Yeah. And anybody in the room here, seriously, when we jam in the end, pick up an instrument or my cat Billy, or pick up something that makes noise.
Or just make yourself make noise. I mean, vocals.
Yeah, there's plenty of mics around.
Slapping,
and
snapping,
Yeah.
cracking, whatever. Bang.
elbowing. No,
Yeah, dude.
that's not a really good
Got it.
timbre. I don't know. So we're being a little silly now, but I want to invite Cha Yi out. So cool.
do it.
So let's get in
Okay,
that.
started?
Cha Yi, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And this is, of course, totally.
Inviting me too.
Of course. Thank you for gracing us tonight. Yeah, whatever's comfortable. If it's, let me
looks a
see.
little
It is a little
sideways
loose,
there.
yeah. This isn't exactly technical difficulties yet.
It's mechanical difficulties right now.
How are you tonight?
Good.
Yeah.
Especially the weather is really good.
It's really nice out,
Yeah.
right?
I
we-
feel really better than other days.
Nice. Because, we just had that whole segment talking about sometimes it's just trying to go out and function in New York City when it's so hot. But the last couple of days are really great. So,
I feel like Burma.
yeah?
We always, living, with the 102 at least in summertime.
Oh, wow.
At least that's the starting point.
Yeah, starting
And
Oh, wow.
then just go up from there.
till 106, 7.
Okay.
Is it, and it's more humid there than it is in New York? Or-
I think I feel here more.
Oh, yeah?
But I don't know now there.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in New York?
Since 2009, so 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what brought you to New York originally?
Actually, I came here for my artist residency connection with Asian Cultural Council. They invited me to study contemporary art in New York.
Cool.
And but during my residency, I need to extend my passport. Then I got trouble, and then I have to live here finally. So then I lived since that time till now.
And what were the circumstances of that? Was it something bad? I mean, that meant you couldn't go home again, right? You still have family there and everything, right? So,
Yes, I did. Because, if you speak louder or if you speak very open, so that will be sometime get trouble. Because especially if you are from under regime, I mean, your country is under a regime. So they're so sensitive about information, sensitive about talking about their system. So as I'm artist, sometimes I cannot really control myself. So
Right,
sometimes
right.
I talk loud, and I did something about what I feel, what I see. So I think sometimes they don't like me. So that's a problem.
well, this is exactly about your story what touched me the most, and I would like to ask you about, because I feel like there's a lot of artists, like here in Brooklyn, for example. We're in Bushwick now, and I haven't done any polls on it, but it seems to me like Bushwick must be one of the capitals of arts in the United States now. But the more artists I meet and the more people I'm talking to, it's not always into this political position. Where sometimes it's the whole mindset is what's the coolest or what will get me known, and then there's this whole other vast realm of the art world that is art for a specific. Not necessarily specific political purpose, but with some political energy behind it. And oftentimes that comes from the experience that the artist has gone through, of course. So I guess I'd like to ask you a little bit more about your story about that.
Please.
Can you share some of the details of that with us and like your performance art you told us about earlier?
Yeah, recently I'm doing the performance about the prisoners, so how they got torture. So I choose 6 position, a torture position, and I do that performance since end of 2012 to now. So that torture is like I listen the story and experience from my former political prisoners, and I research all about their experience from the books, from online internet resources. So then I choose 6 difficult position. So then I did that performance since the time. So because I really want awareness from outside world to note about what's going on in Burma. So because at that time we have over 2,000 political prisoners. So since I have to live here, sometimes I feel really guilty because, I am, really escaping or not, but nobody know. But, for me is I want to do something, even wherever I am, wherever I was. So then I always thinking about, what's going on there, what's happening there, what I can do. So then I found out, I'm here, so I can bring some voice for those people who could not speak out. So then I did that performance since 2012. So when you look at all the images, 1 or 2 will be in the bunch of photos.
Excellent. Yeah, we would like to see that. We're going to run through some of the images of Cha-Yi's work here in a minute.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to play some slides. So that piece that you were talking about, where did you perform that at first when you got in trouble, when you were arrested?
Actually, I did street performance with my friend in Rangoon, and I was arrested for that. And they arrested me for 5 days, and they questioned me every day with my fellow artist. Is a fellow or follow? Yeah,
Fellow
artist. Yeah, he is Thanh Lin. And another thing is like my friend Thanh Lin was in prison for 6.5 years, and then he did some paintings in the prison. Actually, you are not allowed to do that, but he took risk, and he just create those painting like 1,000 sketches and over 280 paintings. He used his prison uniform, and he used all the found object. So when he released from the prison, he showed me those paintings. In those paintings, there are 3 different category. Let's say category. One is more about abstract. Another one group of paintings are more about meditation. Another one is more about prisoners, which is like you can see like human rights abuse in the prison, how terrible, how the people are dying in the prison. So, and then he showed me, and I make decision to make a show in Rangoon. So then my teachers, who are like journalists and English teacher, stop us not to show, because those paintings are very important, and we should keep those paintings as our history.
Right.
So then we got a help from British embassy, and ambassador helped us a lot to smuggle out those paintings. So then he showed very first exhibition about those prison work in London, and I went and joined that show, and I even give a artist talk about performance artists in Burma, the situation about that, and then New York Times wrote about that. So that kind of things are really trouble to the artist sometimes, because you are speaking about what's going on inside Burma.
Right.
So that is one thing and me, my friends, did. So the another thing is like, when the New York invited me, Asian Cultural Council invited me, I'm also, whenever, as you are artists, you always, feel something, what you see and feel, your environment and where you are from. So for me that's a problem. Let's say problem, because I always think about my country, my friends, my family there. So whenever I try to create my art, everything is about my country. Everything's about my experience there, my experience here. So you will see most of my work is really related to my country and situation.
Yeah, that's great. I saw one of the videos that you were talking about that, about how important that was to you.
Yeah.
And also, I would advise everybody at home to check out that New York Times article. I did read that. It was really
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
And we're on our archive. We're going to put all of the links to check out Cha Yi's stuff and the New York Times article and everything. And before we start your slides, there's one more thing. There's also the case of Ai Weiwei recently, right? And so smuggling his stuff into the Venice Biennale.
Yeah.
And I only saw it in, I think it was The Voice or something. I saw the photos of the dioramas that he made. And in similar fashion, he's dealing with something that he was told, you cannot discuss this. Well, like you're describing, I'm an artist and I'm in my environment. How can you silence my mind, basically? And, again, prison time and in exile and smuggling artwork. I can't help but think we talked a little earlier about economic globalism versus cultural globalism, and I can't help but think there's a very literal battle happening in journalism that is not just journalists, it's not just news. And I think artists play a super prominent role in that, and I think that that's happening all over the world, that it's like, here it's obvious for everybody to see. Here's the artist trying to share the truth of their experience versus the state-empowered mouth that wants to silence that voice. And the more cases like that we can talk about and spread that, I think not only just to inspire other artists, but to show people in the world, like, this is what's going on. It's
not just conspiracy theory. This is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Because you
it's
explain
not
a lot of that
just
stuff to
movies,
people, and they'll be like, oh, well, there was probably something. No, there wasn't something.
There was something.
This is truth
and it
being
was
silenced.
Inequality, and it was.
Yeah, that was the thing.
It was oppression. It was it was unnecessary. But
And so when I watch you speak about it and reading in the Times article, I think that you're just an amazing voice for this. I think, as the different places in the world become industrialized and start getting introduced to democracy and everything's changing, a lot of that, I feel, has to do with globalism and big companies going in looking for resources.
Yeah.
But how is that combatable? It's not. But at the same time, the hearts and the minds of the people, the artist 100 years ahead of people, sharing a message of this is something to come. And I think that there needs to be a lot more credit and a lot more spotlights shown on artists like yourself that are risking something important. You're risking your whole life, basically, your freedom to share, to express this.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, such a profound thing, and it's so removed from my version of, I want to express something today.
I want to talk about my feelings right now.
Yeah. And I love all
Which is very similar, but at the same time, there are feelings about things that are I don't want to put them in a scale, but important and need to know kind of things. People need to know certain things are happening in the world, and being able to express them through art, as you're seeing it being
and not just told
away.
That's what's happening in the world, but shown.
Yeah.
And I think that's what art is able to do about that.
I always do something like, whenever I share my experience, that happened very first time in Tokyo, when I went to Tokyo for my artist festival for the performance art. And I realized sometimes people forget about their own, how lucky they are.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm from that kinds of country, but sometimes the people cannot get information, or maybe far away from that, things. So what I want to really share is, you guys are lucky.
Right.
You have this, you have that, but sometimes you don't know how, things are really, around you. But for us, like, the people like me from like those countries are still struggling, still finding to express, what we want to say. But here, sometimes you forgot how lucky you are.
Yeah.
You have this, you have that. So why sometimes some people just near me and they just telling me like, I'm so disappointed for this food, for this, that. Oh, please, you are so lucky.
Yeah.
Even I have a conversation with that 4 other speakers maybe a couple of years ago. They are really talking about the right, like gay right and many things about rights.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was just sitting and I couldn't really find my words, because even me, my country, my people, even still fighting for basic rights.
Yeah.
Rights of
the time.
expression.
Yeah, for freedom of expression. But we don't really have, even the real basic, rights.
Right.
So that those people are talking about, another level. Another, very more
Basic rights are
specific.
now old hat.
Yeah. So then and then they asked me some questions. Charles, what do you want to say? I could not really find my words because,
I don't know where to begin.
Yeah, that's why whenever I share my, experience, I really want to say, you should think about yourself. You should think about your situation. How lucky you are. You
Right.
have this kind of, good things around you. Just, do it. Just grab it. Some people, from other side of, world or, other part of the world are still, struggling. So that if you realize that, so you will feel better.
Exactly. That's quite
Yeah.
liberating to actually receive that idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
And important, but
And perspective.
we're here expressing ourselves any way we want to, and we are not going to experience someone knocking on the door and saying, "Hey, you need to stop saying those
Well,
things."
this
You need
is
to
the
stop
conversation I
having
would
that
say for the
conversation."
other show is the
Yeah.
ideal that things always change, and even in here in the United States, we all feel like we've got all these liberties, but if you really look at it, they're
That is
threatened.
true.
They are totally threatened. There's more and more of a police state all the time.
Yeah.
You do have the examples where you can find these people getting arrested for freedom
That's
of speech.
my new experience in the United States.
Oh yeah, like it was different than you thought that it would be, kind of thing. Yeah.
Even once I arrived to New York, like 2009 for my residency, they gave me a apartment, and then there is a TV, and I can watch some channel, but very normal and not like Time Warner.
Nothing
So,
radical.
I'm just watching the TV and I realize, oh my God, even in the America, because I could see only the local news. I could not really see the international news at the time. What's happening in America? Why I could not really see why only
America.
America news? And I even asked my friends the other day, the Canada and America is so close, but I never.
What is that?
Canada?
And what's that?
Canada.
I'm just.
That's my joke, like you're saying, because we're such a bubble and we're closed off. It's like, it's like what? Is that north of Florida? I think.
I'm
There's
just
nothing
realized
else.
No news, from here. I never
Yeah.
heard.
That really hit me hard when I first traveled in Europe, and it was the first time I had heard and I had studied and you influenced from other cultures and history, but then going there and walking that turf and saying this is something different was really, I had this profound experience, like my bubble had been burst. Like, oh, I got outside the United States and I can witness, and I had people all over. I was in like 27 different countries, and everywhere I went, people were like, oh, let's talk. You're from the United States? Well, let's enlighten each other.
Yeah.
And for me, taking all of those lessons back and then coming home and seeing with different eyes, And I think it's like what you were explaining earlier about how it is kind of a bubble, and the news here definitely reflects that.
Yeah.
Of course, it's, every media outlet here is owned by
Yeah. Well, and
people.
specifically something like that, it always interests me how, in terms of artists or musicians or any form of artist, I guess, expresses themselves. It's always the state that is afraid
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
And where and why, and that for me that displays.
Because we see more.
Yeah, that that displays on their part
And-
a weakness, showing fear.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that they're trying to cover up just any sort of dissident or difference of opinion.
Well, I believe that it is true fear, that they do know
Yeah.
that if everybody was it's the hearts and minds of the people. If everybody was
Yeah.
inspired in the right way, and suddenly everybody said, what? Why am I paying taxes and buying McDonald's? The world would change tomorrow. And everybody that promotes that and starts influencing others better watch out, basically, I feel.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're talking about, is what kind of bravery it takes and what kind of basically a decision ahead of time It's for a broader thing, right? Am I gonna fight this battle or not? And that's something I've thought about in our arts. Inside the Sulphurbath kind of started with that feeling of, how do we take everything that we've been blessed with and all of our skills and all our talents, all these great musicians and artists I know, and work together towards something that I could, at the end of the day, hopefully say, this is doing a little bit of good in the world. It's not just us being
pushing us in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. And progressive and
fingers crossed.
And our big thing was like sharing discussion that's not mainstream media, but as well including the art and really recognizing right away that they're equal, how important art is to culture and to journalism and to education and even experimental wild art, and it's...
Yeah. Well,
So-
usually on the show, there's like art and politics, a guest of each. And in this instance, we get a guest of both in one, which is nice.
That's great.
You know?
Yeah. Toothy Grins doesn't even have to be on the show now. They can just go home.
Toothy grin.
But I think we should roll through the slides
The
now.
grin is gone.
What? Yeah, right. Toothy, just
Toothy rage.
Lippy frown.
lippy frown. That was Blaine John, so I'll
What?
give credit. Yeah, right.
Can we open for you?
There's a fight brewing. There's a fight brewing.
I was saying we haven't had a fight on the show. No, I shouldn't say that. I was thinking we haven't had
only
a fight on the
episode
show.
7,
Maybe
man.
today's the day.
Today might be the day.
Pace ourselves.
Let's get past Chaw's segment before anybody starts fighting, please. All right, so Fumio's going to trigger the slides now. We're going to talk about your work. We got maybe another 10, 15 minutes or something on the segment.
Yeah.
I'd like to go through the
We'll be
images.
rolling audio.
Yeah, it'll still be rolling audio,
Okay,
and we can
great.
see the images here. It looks like what is that there, Chaw? Is that a...
Actually, this is illustration for the poem. One of my friends, he's one of the student leaders. They sentenced him 64 or 5 years imprisonment.
For-
that is the last sentence. But before, he spent already 15 or 16 years in the prison already after 1988 uprising. So he create the poem in the prison, and he smuggled out all those poems.
wow.
Then my friends got the poem, and then they want to publish his poem. So then they wanted me to illustrate. So this is
Wow.
one of the illustration about the poem. So the poem is all about he's still growing, he's still
Right.
alive, even whoever zip his mouth or put in the prison, he's growing. So the poem is all about that. So I just illustrate about that poem.
I think that's a beautiful image. Of course, it reminds me, evokes the Buddha,
Yeah.
but it's in this dark kind of place. It's in a
Yes.
dark cell. There's no
Yes.
sunshine. But
There's
what's the
this,
red? There's like this lava or something, and it's almost like life from within,
You
right?
can see some energy.
Right.
Yeah, that is
Now,
all about energy.
I don't mean to change course here, but what is he in prison for these 65 years? What is the sentence?
You
Like, what
know,
is the-
at that time, I think August 2007, before the Saffron Revolution, those student leaders marched quietly. They just want to show, because the government announced the fuel price hike, but without giving any notice ahead of it. So then suddenly the people really worry about their daily expense and all the the price. So then all the student leaders who just released from the prison a few months ago, so they just gather and they're just walking along the road and showing to fix the problem.
Right.
So peacefully, but finally they were put in the prison, and they charged them 20 years to 65, and some are 102 years for
Wow.
that.
So equivalent to if we said, we walked up to Washington, D.C. and said, we don't like that you're raising the gas prices, then
Yeah.
we're in jail for
100
65 years.
Yeah.
in
jail.
Burma, 65 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is one of his name is I forgot his name. I forgot his pen name. So
We'll put it in as a
Yeah,
correction,
yeah,
actually, so people
yeah.
can see it when they go to the
his
archive.
name is Jimmy, but I forgot his poet name.
I understand.
And this was a piece that you were talking about where you're doing the body painting, right?
Yes, you mean that one with the hands on my hands, and yes, that is before my performance. I used to draw on my body, mostly like on the face and hands and legs. So faces on the face and hands on my hands and legs on my legs means like not alone.
Right.
I brought many people, and with me, many people who cannot speak, but I will speak for them. I will bring the voice. So that is for my torture position performance. Yeah. So I always count the numbers. The title is We Are, and then equal to, and then the numbers, because every time the numbers change. When the government release, the number is like, reduced.
Yeah, it's always
when the
reducing.
government, put more students or, activists in the imprisonment, so I put more numbers.
Right.
So all the numbers always change according to the situation. That's my performance.
And this is a piece on wood,
Yeah,
right?
this is my recent project I'm doing now. I am very kind of like budget artist, so I always find the found object which can I use. So this is also found wood I use, and I paint my self-portrait on the wood. And some critics, some people, some writers name me as a feminist, but I don't know. I'm feminist or not, I don't know. And some name me activist, I don't know. But I just want to be artist.
Yeah.
But this is about me, my experience, my life, my feeling about myself. So, you will see the sequence. The sequence is very elegant. And I like the two material, like very elegant, shining, beautiful one, and then the other one is hard, the wood and old, but it's still you see as a wood.
Right.
I don't know how to explain. So these two elements is really opposite, very different. So, but I just combine two things like soft and hard. Strong. So that is my recent ongoing project. I would like to make 100 or 200 pieces, and then I will hang. And I'm still trying to develop my idea what we're
Wow,
going
that's
on.
very cool.
So, yes.
What is the scale of this piece?
The scale is
Yeah.
various. Some are short, some are long, some are like 2 feet, some are like 4 feet. Yeah, so it's different size and different, yeah. So
Okay, and we're looking at this next one that Fumio's queuing up right here. This is
Is
the
there
other
another
one,
in the
you mean
series?
the
Another
wet
one?
paint?
On the right there.
Yeah.
Or left?
it's actually queuing in right now. The wet paint.
Yeah, I really like that word. So whenever I, in the subway, I saw the wet paint. It's very meaningful for me. And then I like that word. And I have a series about wet paint too. This is one of them. And this is also my self-portrait. Because, since I have to live in the United States, especially in New York, very beginning, I felt like I'm a really stranger, and I'm not really, because different culture, different custom, everything is different from where I'm come from. So sometimes I realize I'm really, frustrated, and I'm really worried about myself, because these cities is so expensive. These cities is sometimes, can feed alone. This city is sometimes, cannot, but, sometimes this city can give you an energy. So, but at the time, I felt like I'm really stranger. I'm really, fail. I don't know how to say, because I have a lot of things I'm dealing, like because I have to live here and I don't have job, and how can I survive in this big city? And then that station I used to wait to go to work. Sometimes I do the catering, so I have to wait that station. I'm seeing those little people, and then I'm trying to see myself like the life in New York. Yeah, the title is Far Away in New York.
Very nice.
This is also far away in New York, but my tiny little apartment
Wow,
And actually
that's
room.
amazing. What is it? Acrylic or what is that?
This is acrylic on canvas. And, you will see all the little things around me is all are the real, exit and the real thing.
Right.
Painting. So, and then you will see all the the body is really hold.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also something about myself.
Yeah, there's these fractured parts.
Yes.
It suggests some absence of sexuality or something.
Yeah.
And I love how it's a self-portrait in an environment.
Yes.
So you're not just painting yourself. You're painting yourself in your environment, which
Yeah.
is very key to exactly what you're speaking about. Yeah.
Yes. So these paintings are a series from my Far Away from New York series, all my self-portrait.
Wow, Cha, hallowed ground. That's beautiful. I love the composition of it too.
Yes. Kind of like the life in New York is sometimes, you can really, the space, about the space too.
Right.
Yeah, about the space
Do
too.
you know the famous Van Gogh painting where he sleeps and then he wakes up and paints the bedroom with the bed?
Oh, really?
Do you know that one by chance?
Yeah.
This reminds me of the opposite of that.
Oh,
Because
thank you.
Van Gogh was doing that where he'd gone through this thing where he just
Yeah.
was restless and then he got this great rest and he woke up with this energy of rest.
Yes.
And I feel like you're doing almost a similar composition to the same thing, only
Yes.
your energy is not from rest.
It's the
right?
opposite.
It's from the opposite of
From
rest.
that restless
Yeah.
feeling.
Restlessness. And it's beautiful. I love that. That's great.
Thank you so much. And the other one?
Hmm.
Do you mean with the shawl?
Yeah, this one here.
hanging? Yeah, this is also because I move 5 places in a year,
Hmm.
the same year. So I
Oh,
was
wow.
so
Fairly
exhausted.
standard New
Yeah,
York kind of stuff.
New Yorker.
5 in a year.
Right?
That's a lot.
You're one of
This is one of my place.
Is that real fabric or is that all part of the painting?
This is real fabric. I use for my, the Burmese women always wear the shawl for the special occasion, special ceremony. So I'm just celebrate myself in my room, on my portrait. Yeah.
Oh, this is
very-
the wall in your room, actually, right?
Yes.
And so we're seeing fabric hanging on the wall, which
Yeah.
is a painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. At least you've extended the size of your room.
Yes. That is 80 by
Also very New York.
100 centimeter, I think.
Okay.
It's big. And the other one, this one is also the same from my performance, torture.
Faces
Yeah.
on your face,
Faces
hands
on the
your
face.
hands.
But it looks wiped or something. There's the
Yeah,
face.
because I did in the street outside, so sometime rain comes, so it wash. But I like that. This is my favorite.
I love the effect of
photos.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can see sometimes whenever I feel I lost or I'm really I need to look at that photos because I can see myself like how strong I am.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
How I can that's me. So always give me a strength.
Wow.
And this is also I use my brain mammogram scan, and then I use my hand shade, and also want to talk about peace. Actually, we are keep talking peace from many years ago to until now, but we are still fighting for peace. Why?
Still trying to figure out what that even means.
Yeah, what does it mean? So in Burma also we have like many different ethnic. We have 8 ethnic. I'm a Burma ethnic. So we have a civil war. We are longest civil war in Asia, over 40 years.
Oh wow.
So that's another problem in my country. So I'm just want to give some awareness, to have awareness about what's going on inside Burma too. This is also.
I love how you describe it, and it's so beautiful, the composition. It reminds me of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. saying,
Oh.
the technology in the background, right? We have the technology to
Yes.
scan the inside of your
Yeah.
brain,
Yeah.
but we still don't have peace in the world.
Yes.
It's like King saying, we can fly through the air, we can swim through the sea, but we
Yes.
can't love each other yet.
Yeah.
And just, again, the composition is attractive from off, but then
Yes.
getting closer to it, it's like I see that there's several other things going on.
Yeah. To get your peace, you have, broke your
Right.
hands. Actually, I have a plan, ongoing project for that peace
Yeah.
project. So, sometime, to get peace, you have to sacrifice or you have,
Yeah.
many people die to say, peace,
Yeah.
right? It shouldn't be. So I'm just thinking about that, and just actually this is also I show in Taiwan, but I don't really have a money to buy the canvas, so I use A4 acrylic paper, and then I make like a patchwork. So when you look closer, you will see many pieces of paper.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
And that adds a lot to the coloring
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah.
No, I find this one
Very
very
cool.
strong.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
does the piece come from actively removing all the other fingers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. That really strikes me because it's
Yeah.
almost like, I don't know, it's not up on the screen, but it's almost like, we have this, it's almost like it's forced.
Yeah.
It's like it is peace. But
Yeah, and
is
it's
have
partial.
we been forced into
Like
this?
peace
Is it-
isn't the
is it
whole.
real?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this should be the peace
Are we
symbol.
choosing
like
it?
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Question.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is one of my camouflage from camouflage series. So this is I call like salad. So I have
Oh, wow.
many camouflage paintings, and I cut it out all the the lines and patterns. So
Mhm.
then you can separate each color. So some paintings are rearrange all those cutting out camouflage.
Right.
It's so
That's cool.
busy. Sometimes I spend like 2 months for that. So then I found out like this looks like a salad, But my main idea is why we still have war, like fighting, killing. So when you look at when you saw the camouflage, it means like very military wear, right?
Yeah.
So then I really want to change context, or how to say context,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know,
Recontextualize.
yeah. So then we can make salad. Why we don't, we don't try to think about more positive, more, about, the other side. Then, war or killing, or so then I make a salad.
And I'm fascinated by the fact that camouflage is designed to imitate foliage, right?
Yes.
Foliage.
Yes.
Yeah, foliage.
And
Foliage.
there is the imitated, so it is actually a false salad,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Camouflage by its nature.
It's it's weird because
Yeah.
it is. It's reappropriation of a reappropriation.
Yeah. And using
bringing it back.
using the
Bring it back.
technology of
Then we're gonna eat
nature.
it.
Then back to nature. Like doing the recycle, we are doing the organic food. All we going back to the original, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We create something new, then finally we have to,
Yeah, it's
Go
like a
back
fork
to-
in the road, and we
Uncreate
got a
it.
little far down this one, and we're like, no, we got to go
No.
back
Yeah,
and
yeah.
go down the other way.
No.
Yeah.
Live simple, like
Yeah.
eat simple, like
Yeah.
or like the way our grand parents live. So
Yeah. And
something
imitating
like that.
nature
Yeah.
for the purpose of war and stealth
Yes.
instead of for
Yeah.
feeding people, putting some food on a plate and solving hunger.
I just don't see it.
This is interesting. Yeah,
This is really
This is
apart
great.
from my others, things. The people told me when I came to New York very earlier, they said like,
Uh-huh.
oh, you mean this one or that one?
Yeah, we're going back to the ones with the buildings right now. Yeah.
And
Yes.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so the New York is like more beautiful woman, girl. If you want to see beautiful woman, girl, so go to New York. So I'm just trying to think about that and then try to something about
I see. Okay.
women in New York, how related.
But
I don't
the way I would
disagree.
interpret this, so you have the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building, and there's the whole story of them racing to get who's got
Yes.
the most power.
Yeah, that's also
But
the
what
one
is
thing.
the tie that combines them, that leads them together?
Yeah.
Suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very cool. And I love how there's this movement, like
Movement.
it's swaying or something. Like
Yeah.
the string of underwear is more powerful than these huge
I
skyscrapers.
always think of like Lower East Side immigration when I see clotheslines
Oh, yeah.
between
Yeah.
buildings.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It just signals a very specific time and location
Yeah.
and person for me.
So that is about
Yeah, that one's beautiful too. I love the
Very
colors in it
dreamy.
and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one is another picture of your work that you were
Yeah.
doing the body painting, right?
Yeah, body painting
And those,
for my performance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So those are feet.
This is the second installation made in New York during my residency. I use bell pepper as a bed, and I want to show like the process. This is more about like very personal, very, in the very beginning. Then when I'm in New York, I realized because I heard a lot about women rape in the crisis area in Burma, where civil war happened. So then I'm just thinking about those women who are not secure, not, so then how could their life, be? So then I'm just realized. But then I found out not only women, men. And then I even, saw in different like sex. Here is more open than Asia, especially than my country. So I saw many gay and I saw many different, sex, and very interesting society here. So then I found out they have also their own story. They have also their own sacrifice. They have also and then I really want to make something about bed. Bed is, whoever you are, wherever you are from, we always deal with the bed because we, for sleeping, right?
Yeah.
So, for me is, my bed is like my home. I always feel like that. So whenever I sad, whenever I happy, whatever happened, all my personal things, I just, go to my bed and maybe think about good thing or bad thing or sad thing.
Yeah.
So then I realize not only women, but also men, but also children, any age, then it is really wider. So then I realized to make that bed as an installation.
Right.
Then I just give a name, like only very simple name, BD bed. Before I give she's, SHE, all uppercase. Then I put small s, mean many she.
Right.
So, but I changed my mind, and it is also about everyone.
Right.
And a stunning work too. The folks at home didn't get to see the photo you showed me earlier, but
Yes.
the way it was lit and the curtains on the bed and the wood floor, it
Yes.
looked really stunning. A
Oh.
really great piece.
Thank you.
And this is amazing. Really, this is great. What is it? Sugar?
This is sugar, made out of sugar, 5.5 tons, and 12 feet high and 7 feet wide.
Wow.
And what I collaborate with the artist Richard Street Metatron. He is a Vietnamese American artist, and we did this especially for Singapore Biennale in 2008.
That's 12 feet tall.
12 feet
Wow.
tall.
And 5.5 tons.
5.5
5.5 tons of sugar. Even Sculpture now wrote about that piece.
It's 11,000
And-
pounds.
Wow.
So that's hard labor too. So we want to talk about erosions of our hope. So because at the time in 2008, Burma is still under regime, 1 year after Saffron Revolution. So whenever we put our hope, but then finally fail many times. So we just want to talk about that. So that's why we use sugar. Sugar is very fragile, a material itself. And then over the time, that sculpture, eroded. That
So
is
this is-
also about according to our Buddhism, impermanent. So when you have your life, just try something best. Have your love, have your metta. So we really talk about that two things.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really stunning too to see the process of it.
Yes, you can see the process too. This is a painting about torture too. I give a name like nude. Most of the artists give a nude for their painting. Is more about woman, female beauty.
Beauty and yeah.
My beauty is this. How those people sacrifice in the prison. How beauty of their
Resolve.
yeah.
Perseverance.
You told me-
commitment,
Yeah.
So that
You-
is how.
You were telling me earlier about the pose there too, where it's on the elbows and the knees.
Yes, all elbow and knees. You have to be that position as much as whatever they want. So 1 hour, 2 hour, several hours. Once you fall, they will put underneath your elbow or knees like stone or pin or nail. So it's so painful.
Oh my God.
So that's why I really want to honor those people with these paintings. So this is all about torture,
Wow.
all about prisoners.
And this next one coming up is, you told me about this one was the stones,
Yes,
right? You
this
found-
stone also the portrait of the political prisoners. At the time, we have over 2,000 prisoners. So I keep doing the portrait of those prisoners because those stones I found on those the car drive way. The people step on them, and the car driving on them, but they're still strong. So I just want to say how those people are strong and how they keep their commitment.
And just how each stone is shaped different. Each stone has natural features like a human face.
Yeah, I have to find. That takes so long because I have to
you
choose.
look for specific ones.
Specific one.
Right.
Yeah.
And how many of those did you make?
I make already 100, but it takes so long, so I'm still making that.
Wow.
Yeah, I even give 2 portrait to the student leaders who came to America to accept the award from United States government. So I gave 2 already, but I'm still making that ongoing project too.
And then to wrap everything up here, this one is...
This is, I created in 2004, and I realized what's going on in this world. I think, if I'm not wrong, at the time, the Iraq, the America went to Iraq.
The invasion of Iraq. Yeah, that was around 2004.
Yes.
We were arguing over airspace.
I have many questions. What's going on? What's happening? How about our next generation? And at the time also, SARS, like, the air.
SARS,
the people wear the mask. And I'm really afraid of myself, my generation, and what's will happen because we use high technology. We use, the world is really changed so fast. Some are good way, some are really go to bad ways. So I'm just questioning myself, and how about next generation, what will happen? But because we keep talking about peace, we keep talking about our civilization, but we're still fighting each other. So what will be the next?
Wow. Yeah, that I think image says it all. We want to believe that we're a globe filled with human beings that have this great preciousness about life and bringing life into the earth.
And that we're
And
very
yet
aware
every
of
child
what's
that's
going
born
on.
is just like that image, has all these guns pointed right at it. And so we either cope with that and deal with it, which we haven't really been that successful at doing, or we find a way to adapt to it, right?
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of artists and out there that are going to try to get us not to just adapt to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's very noble. I'm so glad that you joined us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yes,
Very
thanks
cool.
for coming.
Thank you so much.
So again, Cha E Tane, thank you, Cha, so much. Yes,
Thank you, audience.
you got great fans now in the house. Yes, we're all fans of yours now.
Yes.
And we hope you come back and join us sometime just to talk and update us on your new work. And like I said, I'm going to put all the web pages and everything on the archive so that people can link to that too.
Yes. Thank
So
you so
my
much.
pleasure. Cha E Thane, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Cool. Have a good night. And make yourself at home. And if you want to hang out and jam on some music with us in a little while, you're welcome.
We'd love to.
So we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
Wow. So what a strong interview, right? How amazing is that? Just the broadening of perspective. And we sit here as artists, video artists, and avant-garde expressionists and people like that. And we're always here in our little bubble doing it. And that's something I always try to think is how do you always think in a broader perspective, and whatever project or whatever you're doing, challenge yourself, to say what's the higher level after this.
Yeah.
Not only
I don't
just
know
for
if it's the
creation and
highest, but
craft, but
how much more can we know? And there's always more to know, and there's always more to educate ourselves with. And I think I say it every week probably, but I feel fortunate just to hear these people that we have coming on the show telling us what they've experienced and what is different than our comfortable lives.
But that's like we touched on that. That's one of the things that's always made New York City the great city of the world. And yet here we are in that. Are we starting to forget that? Are we starting to forget to go out and to find those links? And certainly I have loads of friends that prove that that's not true for everybody that go out searching for that. All my culture vulture friends, etc. But here we are, like I said earlier, and Bushwick must be one of the main art capitals in the entire United States now.
Right.
And how much of it is specialized,
Yeah.
and how but you walk around BOS and you see that there's Bushwick Open Studios, and you see that there's 1,000 different approaches just right here on this block. So I think I find a lot of hope in that.
Yeah.
So
But a lot of great stuff came up.
yeah,
there.
the work is really amazing too. I'd love to.
I'm still blown away by that the picture with the peace fingers with the fingers cut off.
Yeah.
That's just
with the brain scan in it.
that's still confounding me right now, and I think we'll continue through the next week.
It reminds me,
at least,
the
probably.
the British symbol.
Oh yeah, that's from the.
You know, like it reminds me of that. They fought the French for years and years and years. It was an archer, the story of the archer, and the French would catch the British archers and cut off these two fingers.
Yeah.
So they could never fire an arrow at their army again, and then that's why the British used that as a symbol.
We still got our fingers.
Yeah,
We're gonna basically
exactly.
gonna kill you with
Basically,
an arrow.
when you flash your fingers like that, it's not the peace sign.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite, basically.
Gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, see what I got?
Yeah, you got to
you're
be
a dead
careful with
man.
that. That's not all of those hand symbols retain their meaning when you cross borders, right? So
Richard Nixon getting off a plane doing that is
Yeah.
entirely different.
I am not an archer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a crook.
Yeah. Wait, didn't he also have like 2 bottles of champagne or something? Oh no, that's the Subway ads. I'm seeing that. So I wanted to bring that up intentionally because that's such a funny thing to me. Because people will walk through the subway and they'll see that and they'll be like, "What? Was he getting off the plane straight for a party?" Or
Yep.
And they say we're talking about the drunk history thing.
Yeah.
And how many people will take that as actual history?
Kids.
From now
I think a
on?
lot of people will.
A
yeah.
lot more than
How many times growing up when
would
we were
wish
kids
it.
did we have to turn 14 and finally realize, like,
Yeah.
oh, that's how that is? I totally
Yeah.
just invented
Right.
whatever I believed. you
I
know?
just imagined that the way they showed me in ads was correct, but no.
Right. Like, when are they going to get Gilligan and all of his friends off of that island?
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
we're talking about Iran-Contra and stuff, but we got these Americans right here stuck on an island. I saw that on the news. And
I only knew who Teddy Roosevelt was because Bugs Bunny dressed up like him once.
Oh, yeah.
And then later
What about Napoleon? And how many people do we know
where
about?
most
because
of my
Bugs,
history of
right?
classical music comes
Yeah.
from, too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they should just put out a disc set of that.
And also, don't trust rednecks and don't jump from tall diving. Yeah. Bugs Bunny taught us a lot.
Talking about Elmer Fudd?
I wouldn't
Redneck?
call Elmer Fudd. I was thinking Yosemite Sam. I don't know.
Oh, Yosemite Sam. Okay. Yeah, just making sure.
Rootin' tootin'. Elmer Fudd was more like the redneck city cousin who went to visit him in the
Country
woods and was
bumpkin.
like, let's go shoot a
He's
wabbit.
a little weekend warrior getting out
Yeah.
there, you know.
Weekend warrior versus
Never
the
really thought
real
of him
deal.
that way.
Yeah, you know.
Well,
Studied
bring him
this.
up to date, right?
Yeah.
Yosemite Sam, he lives in Texas. He's got a quad. You know,
yeah.
he knows where to go with trails. He has holsters on his quad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Some real, and I'm talking real redneck stuff. I'm talking like my dad in Texas. Like,
Yeah.
you know, this
He's
isn't
got- he's
derogatory.
got more guns than any army
Yeah.
will need.
And Elmer Fudd, he lives in Sherman Oaks, California, and he's got a gun safe in his room, and he goes to the shooting range.
And he imagines being a redneck.
Yeah.
Being
And he says,
that.
instead of these targets, do you have any wabbit ones? He just is blasting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elmer Fudd's born in Connecticut.
Really?
You met him?
Is that Mel Blanc was born in Connecticut? Or?
This is George W.
Ah, that's right.
Raised in Texas.
Yeah.
Born in Connecticut, let's not forget.
Right.
Skull and Bones. And I did that last show. Every time somebody mentions that guy, I have to do that now. It's part of the show.
Skull and Bones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mention anybody that was part of Skull and Bones, like
Yeah.
Carrie or Ronald McDonald. Skull and Bones.
Every time you mention it, they spin their ring
Yeah.
and then touch their nose.
It's so secret. I'm afraid I can't tell you about it. We just acknowledged it existed, right? I'm not sure of that even.
smoke pellet.
Yeah, exactly. we're gonna make a music video that has that for sure. It's gonna be Smoke Pellet. Is there a distracting monster back here? What's going on?
Billy over here is being so cute.
Is she?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not all the folks at home can see Billy, and believe me and trust me when I say this.
It's not a human.
That's too bad for you. So yeah, it's
So
not
they
even-
know, by the way, there's
Yeah,
not
right.
a person named Billy back there on all
Right,
fours.
bring out the gimp.
Being
No,
cute.
like it's Billy, Billy, my cat, who is a calico, who just got her little tooth pulled. That's what he said.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm about to get one myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, tooth cracked. Wisdom. Oh, God.
Oh, man.
You
Yep.
still got those?
Yeah, I actually got a baby tooth too, which is weird. See that guy?
Yeah, look at him.
Bring the camera over here. That's
yeah,
your
bring
sister.
kids at home. I got a really small tooth there.
No, I was
Baby
kidding.
tooth. No, there's no, yeah, you don't want to go in there.
Trust us.
Speaking of teeth.
Yeah, go on.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness! I think we found the
First
perfect segue of all
segue
time.
ever.
Practically rode out on a Segway.
Yeah, you should pretend to do that when you come out right now. All right, we're gonna invite out. Oh, did I clip there? So don't talk too loud into the
Yeah,
mic.
Mike.
Don't
So-
have too much fun.
Let's keep it.
Yeah, don't have too much
Keep it
fun
at
and
a
don't be too
normal
loud.
level here.
We're gonna invite out John Reid of the notorious rock and roll band Toothy Grins.
Yeah.
John.
Welcome.
Hey guys, how's
Royalty.
it going?
Thank you
How
for
you
joining
doing,
us.
man?
Cheers.
Good to see you.
How you guys doing?
And also cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
It's great fun to have you, man.
Thanks
We've
for
been
coming down.
theorizing it for a while, but we finally got John Reid of Toothy Grins.
Yeah.
John is a good friend of mine. He's also a great musical engineer, and he's taught me a lot of stuff about, signal flow and just putting the board together. And
Yeah.
because of this man right here, we're not wearing headphones right now, and we sound good. We sound, if I could say so myself,
Everybody has such a lovely
Fantastic.
voice.
everybody has such a good.
Yeah.
Yeah, these when you get the good levels on the mic,
is
you can
not
just
at
be
all
like,
what my voice sounds like. This is the result of
Yeah.
high production value right
yes,
here.
EQing even.
It's called the super sexy EQ.
Yeah, that means roll off the low end, basically, right? That's what.
Right.
We don't need to know what it means.
Yeah, but they
we just
do.
love it.
We just know the effects.
Yeah, the fourth wall does though. Yeah. So what's up, man? You gonna show us a video tonight? We're gonna talk about your band. How long has
Yeah.
Toothy Grins been rocking it?
We've been around for a couple years now, about 2 years. Rafi and I, the man that's to the right of me,
Oh yeah,
off
just off
He
camera.
may or may
screen,
not
like, right
actually
here.
exist.
Yeah.
We'll see in the video.
Yeah, we've been playing together for about 2 years now. We met on Craigslist misconnections. No, I'm just kidding.
That's how Did you meet through a paper though? An ad?
We actually did. Yeah,
That's how the
yeah.
Pixies got together.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's awesome. Nice. So we'll be as amazing as the Pixies someday, right?
That's
Absolutely.
what I
That's
meant
pretty
by
much
saying
That's
what
what those
Yeah.
things lead us
Yeah.
to. Proof. Don't even worry.
Yeah.
You're
yeah,
good.
Yeah, I put up. I moved here about 3 years ago, and I was like, I need to start a rock and roll band.
Cool.
To continue on the rock and rolledness. And yeah, I think I was like, I need a drummer that hits the shit out of drums. And he replied with, I'm ready to rock the fuck out. And yeah, and that was it.
Nice.
So
Cool.
one guy responded to
Nice.
me, which was Rafi. We met up, and it actually worked out very well. We have very similar musical tastes.
I'd say
and,
so. I mean, you guys are really
yeah.
tight together. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
cool.
so-
Where'd you move from when you moved here?
Northern Virginia.
Okay.
Northern
I
Virginia.
don't know if I knew that.
Yeah.
There's a
So
distinction there.
It's
there
not the
a-
South.
Oh, I see. Is it
I see
Mason,
what you're
above
saying.
the line, the Mason-Dixon line?
Yeah, exactly. It goes like directly like below my house and then way back. And then back.
And your parents are like, yeah, let's buy that house. But that's
Looks
cool.
more friendly.
yeah. So I was playing in rock and roll bands there in Virginia for a couple years,
Mhm.
and then decided to make the voyage.
Cool.
So New York called to you.
It did. It called to me. And yeah, and then been working on this project for a couple years now, and yeah, we've been doing some good stuff. We're right in the process of recording an EP right now, so that is well underway.
That's great. And you do all your own engineering, as I suggested. I know you've recorded
do,
several
and
people.
Yeah, it's actually like super tough. You know, they say like a band should never like produce themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Unless you're like Pink Floyd or something, then that's actually okay.
If you can get up there, if you can do that.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not sure what you're going for, dude.
It's tough. I'm having to produce. I'm having to engineer. There's a lot and like play bass guitar and sing at the same time, and it's really tough to kind of have like, all these kind of like roles that I'm playing. But
Yeah.
it's also very gratifying too, just like being able to stand back at the end of the day and just like see this like magnificent project that has been this like vision that I've had in my head for years now. So.
Cool. And you have a whole list of other people that you've engineered for, too. I know personally Brandon White. And
Yeah,
Reese,
Brandon White, check out episode 1.
Episode 1.
Episode 1, Brandon White. He's got to be thrilled with all the shout-outs we're
Episode
getting, man.
Yeah. I did. Brandon and I met up a couple years ago. We did a folk record. We did a rock and roll record. Both which are
I love
just
both of those.
amazing.
Yeah,
They're
really great.
They're so much fun to listen to. Yeah. So I've worked with him, a couple other guys around town
Cool.
as well. So
And you're recording on tape these days, right?
tape. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I have this like awesome Tascam 388. 8 tracks of analog tape.
That's
and
badass. Cool.
It's amazing. It's nice to just like not have to have like a screen there like in front of you. It kind of like closes off that kind of like sense where you're just like, I need to like click here and click here to do this, but you're not really like actually like using your ears. You're kind of
Yeah.
like looking at the sound and not hearing the sound. So when you don't have a screen there and you're just like there like with the faders and with like the EQ and everything, it's just like it's
Very zen.
Yeah. It's exactly how it's like supposed to be.
Well, it's so funny to me too that the way that new software is all laid out. If you've learned the analog way and go into software, it's easy.
Yeah.
But if you know software and try to do analog, you're like, what am I doing here? You know, it doesn't
What do you
translate
mean
the
there's
same
no
way.
interface?
Right. There's like a digital thing in between this and that, right? So, what do you find? Do you have any advice for young engineers? Are you like an analog purist? I mean, I know you do some stuff in digital, right? Or
I think yes, I do a lot of stuff in digital. I mean, really, it comes down to budget. You know, I mean, I like recording on analog because it gets a different sound out of the drums. It gets a different sound out of like a lot of like the lower end of the frequencies.
Can you explain that a little bit more, the tech side of that for all the gearheads? That I mean, I know this is a big thing, the analog versus digital discussion, but it'd be cool to break it down right now.
I mean, it kind of depends. You can use the levels that you send to the tape to get sort of like different effects. So faster tape speeds give you more top end, but they kind of like, you kind of miss out on like this like big, like nice, like low end. Slower tape speeds, you lose a little bit of the top end, but you get a more solid like low end. So that's one thing. And then, you know, hitting the tape with a hotter signal will create more tape compression. So it's a natural compression, less compression that you have to use later, which is also a desired effect. And sometimes it's nice to just hear that like,
Right.
You know, like in the background.
And they talk about the warmth of the tape, just the very specific response that it has to what you're putting into it.
And when you do record something to tape and you play it back, it's just like, it's like mind blowing sometimes. You're just like the sonic quality.
Yeah.
That is there. It just like you could hit play and you could go into the next room and just like think that like, oh, Brandon's playing guitar right now in the other room. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's not actually 100 samples in a second with empty space in between them.
It's like,
right?
that is the purest, I mean, it's...
But I find there's a lot of people working in analog today that are like, yes, I made this, I built up the thing, I got the tape, whether it's film, video, music, and then they get to that step where it's like, okay, I need to borrow my friend's Mac.
Yes,
because
exactly.
You know, we can get all that stuff, but there's no distribution anymore, right? So, can you comment on that a little bit? Do you have any tricks to try to keep that if you're trying to play that music for somebody other than from that tape machine?
I mean, there's a couple different views on that. What I like to do is I just record the drums onto tape, and then if you have another couple tracks left over, maybe you could do some just like scratch tracks or some like other like actual like bass guitar tracks on top of that. So I pretty much try and put as much as I can on tape, 8 tracks, filled all of that up, and then when I need more tracks, that's when I'll actually like transfer it to Pro Tools, and there, I mean, you have.
But if you don't, I mean, you would have to take that tape and then press a record or something straight from that, right, to keep the analog quality.
Exactly.
So what you're talking about is you do these recordings, but yeah, I mean, when does it bottom out? You know what I mean? Like, because you'll get to that point where you're just either playing it from your tapes. I mean, do you have a method for this that you can keep it analog and send it away from your space? And
not currently. No. And I mean, like, I'm not even sure if like in like the big major studios now that they even like even go about it like that way. Which is kind of a shame. But I mean, you can definitely hear the sonic quality like differences just between a lot of the older stuff that was done and the newer stuff. And the newer stuff actually sounds amazing. Like, it's crystal clear, and it's like super sharp, you know. And if that's the effect that you're going for, then like I totally agree. Like go digital. Like,
go sharp.
Digital sounds amazing. It's not like a bad thing. It's just like, you know what.
You're losing
what
the characteristics of the old analog devices.
It seems like an aesthetic choice at this point.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You know, you can decide whether to go or for what you're going for. Like, if you have a specific goal in mind or a specific sound that you're hearing, and you're like, the best way to capture that or reproduce that is, you know, it's just another tool.
Yeah. But I think it's so funny how these, with obsolescence, it always layers itself. You have in Final Cut the filter that will make it sound like a record. You know, or there's all these new digital things. They're like, oh, we've specifically got somebody to write some code so that you, if you want, can have that horrible hiss on your sound that everybody in the 70s cursed at.
Well, that's like Quentin Tarantino's movies, like with like scratches and pops, and you know, it's like it's so unnecessary.
So what happens
we
after
worked
digital?
really
Is there
hard
gonna
to
be
get
like
rid of that, and now we want it back.
No, I think if we ever
Is there gonna
enter
be
like a
digital,
holographic,
a digital like filter that you put on like after digital?
I think if we ever enter
3D revolution.
Yeah, whoa.
It'll be that.
God,
It'll
how
be
long
that.
for
It'll be
this?
like It'll be like DTS audio, THX sound with a hologram.
Can you turn on
floating
the
in your living
doubly,
room.
please? More doubly.
It's like, you get the same effect if you just jab a pencil into one of your eyes. Like, oh yeah, that's the quality I was looking for.
It's a choice.
So yeah, it is. And there's, I can think of all kinds of extremist artists. It would be like pencils are my new medium.
Pencils in the eye.
But yeah, back to engineering and such. So, what do you? I know your machine that you use for recording on. When I've gone over there to see you do your engineering, I've gotten past your machine, and then I've gone, now tell me about your mics, John, because I know you're really into mics and you have this really great knowledge and stuff. I just like, that's a mic, right? It works. Let's do it. But since working with you, you've pointed out high end, low end, and different frequency response and stuff. So, is there something you can mention just for the engineers of the world? Like, tell me your philosophy of mics.
Yeah, I mean, my philosophy of mics right now, pretty much, I feel like I have a good, solid mic collection. And by solid mic collection, I feel like I have like one microphone that kind of does like a specific job. So I have all my dynamic microphones, 57s. You put on snare drums. You put on, guitar amps. I have my ribbon microphone that has like the kind of like rolled off like top end. It kind of sounds like a little bit more like vintagey. So when you do have that like blaring like shrill like guitar sound, you can put that in front of it and it'll kind of like tame the high frequencies a little bit.
Cool.
And then you get your small diaphragm condenser for all those like really like nice like accurate like parts that you need, those like soft like acoustic guitars, and your large diaphragm condensers for lead vocals, overheads. I mean, pretty much like.
What do you prefer for vocals? Do you have a go-to?
No, vocals. What you do is you put up like 3 mics. I'll put up like a.
Okay. What next?
No, yeah. I mean, pretty much.
Sorry.
That's like exactly what you do.
Duct tape them together, dude.
Yeah.
And what you're looking for is more of the frequency response of all 3 mics spread for what the sound that you're making. Like you capture more sound that way, basically.
No, actually, what I would do is just find out which microphone like works with their voice the best. Like Michael Jackson recorded Thriller on an SM7B. It's $300. It's a $350 microphone. It's like it. But it worked for his voice.
Yeah.
And then
And in the grand scheme of thing, that's a cheap microphone. Just for anyone who doesn't.
Yeah.
What about
microphone. And then John Lennon gets up to the mic and they're like, you need a U47 and you can't buy one now for 8,
any
10,
amount of money.
15 grand.
And he's like, okay.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Right, it's like,
I got 2 of those.
give me a chair. That's what I
just
need.
the 5 of them?
Can you put some more reverb on my voice? I don't sound too well today. Like, fuck you, dude.
So, what mic was used to record Vincent Price on Thriller? That's my trivia. That's my engineering trivia for you for the day.
Vincent Price?
Yes. Blaine, do you know how it goes?
What the Thriller?
The end of Thriller, where Vincent Price is like.
I don't. I just remember he comes in.
All I remember is like chord.
I just hear like a
shell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hear it tonight. Yeah.
And just like.
And he ends laughing.
Yes.
Tune in next week for the answer.
We're gonna read in poetic form the end of Michael Jackson's Thriller by Vincent Price.
Yeah.
The body starts to shiver. Very cool, man. I want to hear some of your music. How do I do that?
Yeah. Do you want to?
I totally framed that wrong. What I meant was, how do people?
As in an internet
Hang on.
user.
No. Hang on. Well, yeah. What I meant is like the folks.
Yeah.
Where can the folks at home go to hear your tunes?
Yeah. Check us out on Facebook.com/Toothy Grins. And you can find our music there. There's a couple of videos.
Toothy Grins.
One word. Toothy Grins.
Cool.
So check us on Facebook. There's I think we have a couple of videos up now. We just put up one today, which is the one that we're about to watch.
Cool.
In a couple minutes.
So, and we're also going to put all the web pages and everything, so anybody that watches the archive will be able to tune into that. So, cool. Well, let's.
Is there anything you want to say about this before it plays, or you want to just let it play?
Let's just let it play.
All right.
Yeah.
Let it roll. Go, Toothy Grins. And that was Toothy Grins. Badass.
Toothy
John Reid.
Grins.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about the name?
I was gonna say, what's the origins of that?
Actually, the name I got from a lyric. It's actually an Oceanside song. I'm trying to think exactly what the line is. It's like, oh crap. I'll have to look it up for you guys.
No problem.
Look up.
You've never had to answer that question before?
no, I haven't actually.
No one has ever.
Everyone's just been like, yeah, great.
Moving on.
It was actually between a couple names. We narrowed it down, and now I like look back at like the other like names that we like had like for it, and I was just like, oh man, there's no way.
What were the other names we had?
The other names were like Bugs Bunny, Gone Wild. Seed.
I don't know why you didn't go that way. Come on.
Chirping Hard.
Chirping hard. That's funny. I'm chirping so hard.
1-800-GHOST Dance.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Hold on.
You're
What
like,
do you,
oh, come on, get.
what do you
let's
get when you
change it."
dial that?
A peyote trip, man. Wow. You get
Peyote.
Chirping hard.
peyote.
Well, I support Toothy Grins. I think you made the right choice.
You
Thank
guys
you,
sound
thank
amazing,
you.
and that's a
Yeah,
basement
that's
show,
awesome.
right? You sound really
Yeah.
great in the basement. Even your distortion on your bass is awesome.
Yeah. That's
Tell us about that
that's our most badass Park Slope practice space. We did a couple videos down there,
Cool.
and yeah, I feel like just because it is a two-piece, just because it is bass and drums, like I needed that like extra like kind of like boost to
Yeah.
like to fill out the sound, and what better way to go than fuzz and big muff
Totally.
Come on.
and overdrive pedals.
Turn up-
and
just turn it up.
Yeah,
Turn up the cool,
and
man.
Turn it up to 11.
Hell yeah.
to 11. And they should put that in a movie somewhere. And so
They
this was
will
just the
one
two of
day.
you. Who made the video? I love the video because the contrast is great. And
Yeah, actually, Tarek Kid
Oh, I know
Rye,
Tarek. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. He did.
even the
he
title,
did
there's something
all
about
the
how the
videos.
title's big over you at the end. It's
Yeah.
it's just a badass video.
Yeah. So he's great with the camera. We did all the editing together,
And he did the Loft Sessions video too.
He did Loft Sessions.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. He helped us out on that. But the videos are great. So that one, Rotten Meat, is up. The one before that, Suicidal Monks, is also up on our Facebook page. So if you like what you heard, check out. There's another song, and then by the time the EP comes out, which we're hoping end of August, early September, we'll put up the last video, and then you guys will have like an actual like studio record.
Awesome.
To
Cool.
hear.
Are you guys
Yeah.
doing any live shows out anytime soon? Anything to? Look forward to?
Actually nothing planned right now. Right now is the focus, just get the EP done.
Cool.
No distractions. But we are planning a EP release party with Ernest Hampson, his band,
Oh, cool.
Natural Stranger, another good band. Go check him out.
I've seen his solo stuff, which I loved. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
yeah.
He did Loft Sessions with us also.
Loft Sessions. Yep. Yeah. So now he's got his like 5-piece.
Oh, really? Cool.
5-piece rock and roll band. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're gonna do like a dual CD release show. We'll have some tape cassettes
Cool.
for the kids.
What do I do with this?
You can play air hockey with it.
What you do with it is you open it up and there's a download.
But that's good. You know, the fetish item. You know, to have the tape, to have something.
Yeah. We wanted to give you
archaic.
something like physical that you can
Tactile.
take home.
Yeah, that's cool.
And if you listen to it, it's actually just like me and Brandon drunken blurbing into a microphone.
So there's
for
actually
like 40 minutes.
content on the tape.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, watch out for that.
Easter egg, folks.
Some real content on that.
Yeah.
If you can
I think
find
they
a tape
used to
player.
put music on those things. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that, but I'm pretty sure it's a lie.
Tapes were awesome. You know how when you would play the shit out of a tape,
Yeah.
And
and then it would just go
all the top end is
Yeah.
just like totally
Sometimes it would
gone,
flip,
man.
and you'd be on one side, and then all of a sudden it'd be Jimmy Page, boom, 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 boom,
And you'd
Robert
be
Plant,
on the
like-
other side. Yeah.
and just flipping it. And I love tapes for all
And
those little
sometimes
weird
you have
qualities.
a cassette that's just screwed, like it's just done, and then you'd be like, "Wee!"
Yeah,
Did you ever just do that? Just have fun with the tape.
Or
Yeah.
I remember often when I was a kid driving down the freeway with my mom, and being like, there goes a tape.
Yeah.
That was a big thing in my childhood, like
that?
That happens
driving down the
more, though.
freeway.
Oh, one's on the side of the road, flying in the
yeah.
Yeah.
Here, Bobby McFerrin,
Yeah.
goes out the window, you know?
Realistically, if you were to come across the tape today, what else can you do with it besides pull it all out and make a big
Well,
streamer?
you could probably floss with it, or you could do if you do, you know that if you start swallowing it slowly and
Yeah.
cleanse yourself.
But
with
you
it.
certainly don't have a tape deck to play it on.
I got a drawer full of tapes right over there behind you.
And
Yeah.
where's your
Michael
tape deck?
Jackson's
Tape
Thriller,
deck? Can you
Oak Ridge
point-
Boys, Monongahela. I
Can
got
you
all
point
kinds
to your tape deck around here? Where do you play those tapes? Yeah, that's what
You put it in the PlayStation.
No,
right?
I have a Walkman. I have a Walkman. I do. A Walkman with an output that could go into my system.
What is a Walkman?
It's a man you walk with. Like, what a horrible name for an item.
Yeah.
You know, Walkman.
Yeah, and then they had to make the Disc Man.
Yeah. Why don't we have like a
Why
MP3
did man
man?
have to be involved in the name at all? I don't know.
Well, yeah, and then MP3s they went player.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think we should have MP3 man. You know, like
I'm sure
But-
someone tried it. They're like, let's get the MP3 man.
I.
product.
Yeah.
But I also think
Hi,
New York
man.
should be called New Washington. So that's
Yeah.
you know, but
You're alone on that one.
that's just me. That's right. It's New Amsterdam. The British came. Oh, change New Amsterdam. Forget it. It's not us. New York, people. And then the Americans took it back, and they were like, "Yeah, New York."
Let's just leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, then
So-
that encapsulates that story.
No one's fixing the signs.
Just love fixing the signs.
It's too expensive.
Nah, just leave it New York. You know how many more letters Washington is? It's so much painting. Forget it. Anyway, thanks, John. It was really
Yeah,
cool
yeah, thanks, guys, for
talking
having
and,
me.
and
Yeah,
watching your
sure.
video and stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you guys will come back in the future and play live for us. I think that'd be
Yes.
awesome.
I would actually love to play.
Once we
That
have the
would be cool,
capability
yeah.
to do something like that.
Yeah.
Well, we're close to it,
Well,
and
yeah,
I think
we're-
We're getting there.
Not too much of that. And, you know, I do think soon also we're going to be doing shows from the field. We're going to go to some bar. You know, all we need is a really strong internet connection. We can do the show anywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
if,
that
if
sounds
you know
amazing.
anybody in like Monte
Hopefully from
Carlo
space
or
we're
Siena, Italy, or
Sauce of France.
Toronto, south of
Mars.
France, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the south of France.
The Sauce of France.
And the sauce of France, too.
Saucy.
We're getting hungry. You know what that means.
Yeah, man. This show needs to end.
We are going to end the show, but first, we're going to have a really amazing improvised, totally last minute, totally experimental, maybe 80% experimental.
Do you have a kazoo?
Do I?
I could maybe fashion one for you real quick
We'll look for one, but
out of a toilet paper roll, a screwdriver, and a little piece of paper. We need some glue.
That works.
You ever make a kazoo when you were in school?
What? No.
Like in kindergarten, you make a kazoo or
Like
whatever?
a comb?
What? You make kazoos in kindergarten?
A comb?
Yeah, a comb and a little piece of paper. You go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Blow into it.
I'll just go grab a
What was
blade of
my
grass.
teacher thinking?
I'll go out in the streets of Bush so I can find a blade of grass.
Good luck there, man. Good luck there. You're like,
I
oh,
mean,
there's a crack needle.
just
on it.
look around. Anything that makes noise, go for it. There
Yeah,
you go.
perfect.
Found him.
All right, thank you everybody for joining us at home. I want to thank Blaine Kneece,
Thank you.
Greg Becker.
Thank you.
I want to thank
Thank
Mike
you.
Wilson.
Thank you,
I want to
Blaine.
thank John Reid.
Ah,
I want to thank Cha E. Thane for being with us tonight. Thank you very much, Cha.
thank you very much.
Love the artwork and thanks for talking to us. Very, very cool. John Reid, Toothy Grins.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank Fumio Tashiro, Nick Chen, who are going to be leading this improvised breakdown right now,
And anybody else in the room who feels moved to make some noise near a microphone,
which is Dan Marco.
Yep.
Please do so.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you guys very much. We're going to go for it now.
Billy on tambourine.
Hey, Mike, don't forget to turn up those things you need to.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Have pity on the working man. Yes, Batman.
Check.
Sure. Or whatever. I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Just make sure you bring a mic to it so you can mic it. We won't hear it at all if you don't. All right.
If you want the piano, put one of the mics on it. All right. We have reached an impasse. How honored I am to have you guys all in this room jamming with me right now. It's fucking awesome. The metronome knows. The metronome knows. I want to thank Blaine Kneece playing acoustic guitar right now. Co-host Blaine Kneece, you're the man. Sounds great. We need to get you an acoustic electric so we can hear you better. But it sounds great from where I'm sitting. I hope everybody home heard it. Daniel Scacalosi. Sorry, Dan Marco. It's a live show, man. I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that.
It's too late. They already know.
I think the Witness Protection Program knows you now. Dan Marco. Thanks for playing piano right here. Sounding great, dude. Really amazing. John Reid playing some bongos.
Mike on the metronome.
I like to play mean metronome, man. I do. Like, hey, the triangle's taken. Can I
So
play metronome? Right.
So consistent.
Steady as she goes. Really, that musical improvised performance was led by Fumio, Tashiro, and Nick Chen. Thank you, Fumio. You're the man. Fumio's been playing music on every show so far. He's amazing. And Nick Chen doing percussion. Thank you, Nick. Sounds great. You guys add so much. Once more, I'd like to thank John Reid and Cha E. Thane. Thank you very much, both of you guys, for being on the show.
Thank you, Mikey.
I also want to thank my other co-host, Greg Becker, who's behind me on the drum. And I think that's everybody. I want to thank Miho Morita for doing camera work again. Thanks, Miho. Woo!
Thank you, Miho.
And I guess just let the guys roll out a few more minutes before we fade to black. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us for episode 7. Next will be episode 8.